Hello, I'm Jenny and I'm the Artistic Director of Grey Eye. I love my job. I think I am the luckiest director in Britain, actually in the world, because I have the fantastic opportunity to work with people, deaf and disabled, actors, that other mainstream world are not interested in or they're scared of, or they don't think that we, as artists, have a right to be on the stage. I started my life hearing, and when I was 7, I banged my head and became deaf. At 7, I don't think you really analyse difference. I didn't think too much about, oh my God, I can't hear anymore. I just thought, I've got to carry on. I was lucky because I had very, very good friends at school, and I wanted to stay in the same school with other hearing friends. If I think about it now, at the almost age of 50, my education was a bit poor. There was no access, no interpreters, no note takers. So I lived very much in the world from the age of 7, maybe till now. I live in Jenny Bubble. It's a fantastic bubble to be in, because sometimes I can zone in and out and think and watch. And I think it's the whole thing about watching that's given me the value of human beings. You watch their body language, you watch their facial expression, you watch the colour of their lips. All of this is fantastic information, especially becoming a director. When I was 7, I thought I'm going to have to give up doing ballet, but I had the most amazing teacher. She said, "What do you mean, give up? You can just follow the person in front of you." So I was always in the middle of the bar, doing my ballet, following the person in front. It didn't matter that I couldn't hear the music or anything. Ballet was just absolutely the most wonderful thing. I didn't have to worry about lip reading. I didn't have to worry about lip reading, music, anything. It was just my time for me. And I was quite good. We did competitions, we did shows. It was the most extraordinary place to be, and it was different from school. Thank goodness. I think ballet saved me in a way, because if I think about it, school was so stressful, trying to struggle to keep up. So when I was 16, I didn't do very well in my exams. It happens, but luck came my way again. There was a new foundation course for people who had failed their O-levels, and part of it was drama. So I had drama, theatre, set and design part, and then I could also focus on resitting my exams. We had the most amazing teacher there, who was Canadian, the most incredible lip pattern. So suddenly, my world became clearer. And it was following a passion for drama. I didn't know that I had that passion for drama, but because dancing was my thing. But again, it's transferable skills. And Marilyn Church, she wasn't worried the fact that maybe my voice wasn't, well, I can't hear my voice, so I never knew. She thought about, how do I cue myself when I'm on stage with other hearing, speaking actors. So I started to develop a fantastic process of learning, of setting up cueing systems. So I'd have to ask the other actor, right, on this note, when you finish your line, could you do that with your hand, or can you fold your arm? I know that's my cue, say my line. But what it meant also, I had to learn everyone's lines, because you couldn't always rely on the others to do their cue. All of these elements, really, really fantastic training. Self-training, I think that's what I'm really, really proud of. And I think many people out there where education fails, you find your education from many different sources. And mine has been, because I'm deaf, because my world is visual, my sources has been out there and people. At Middlesex Poly, I went back into doing dancing because they would not let me on the drama course because deaf. Worried about my speech, worried about I wouldn't be able to follow my lines, even though I spent my A-levels doing exactly that. But it was the most fantastic course because you had to do dance, you had to do some drama, and you had to do music. I learned to play the flute. It's dreadful. I was absolutely dreadful. Playing on my own without an accompaniment, fine. Playing with an accompaniment, impossible. But I had a lot of fun. The course, because you had to do so many different things and really mix with the other students, again, it was very, very revealing, it's very exposing. We really had to put our hearts flat on that table, which would be butchered by ourselves and by each other to find out what sort of performers were we. So I majored in dance and choreography, but for my final show I did solo performance, both speaking and dancing. And I loved it. I absolutely loved being on the stage. When I left college, it was a really interesting time because equal opportunities were very much there, and these small companies, it's always the small companies that believe in equal opportunities and diversity and inclusion. The big mainstream ones, they really, really don't, but the small ones, they led the way. So it was the most perfect opportunity for me as a deaf performer to be included. So I worked with Theatre Centre, The Half Moon, Red Ladder, a real diversity of companies. All of them were just about inclusive practice. Taking theatre into schools, at the Half Moon, all the work we did was bilingual in English and Sylheti Bengali. And just seeing those young people whose first language is Sylheti just go, there's a white woman, deaf, speaking Sylheti, what's that about? And suddenly it was their language that had the power. And they gained a status and confidence amongst their English-speaking peers. So it's about equality. So that's all the work that I was involved with was about equality. It was about human rights. It was about issues and how drama can transform lives. All this work never had an interpreter. So again, my lip reading skills were just continually being refined. But because we were working with really like-minded people, you know, the confidence to say, pardon, what did you say, how did you do that, all of those sort of things, it didn't feel too much of a problem being deaf. When we were doing workshops in schools or in youth theatres, youth clubs, that was hard. But because I had to say, please, can we be in a small group? Please, can we focus? I'm deaf. Please, I need you to help me. There was a different sort of, different sort of exchange because everyone realised that they had to support me to communicate. Then I got pregnant, like you do, and I thought, there's no way that I could tour with this small baby. And there was an advert for Interplay Theatre Company, and their work is particularly for young people who have severe mental and physical disabilities. So how they create their work is so layered. Thinking about all the senses, thinking about the atmosphere, thinking about smell, thinking about mood, everything. And they wanted a trainee director. So for me, 8 months pregnant, I sat on a big beanbag and I watched the other director, John, direct. And as he was directing, I was thinking, oh, I would do that a bit differently. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder whether we could do that or that or that. And it was then I realised that maybe I could become a director. And it was the most, wow. Oh my goodness, my life might take on a different direction. So Jonah was born, and 6 weeks later, I had my first professional directing job with a now closed company called Gazebo. And my brief was from Birmingham Deaf Club. They wanted something that was fully accessible for deaf audiences. And I think, that's simple, just sign it. And I know, not all deaf people sign, not all deaf people lip read, not all deaf people want access to the arts. So we created this bizarre but rather beautiful little play, really trying to challenge all the assumptions that people make about deaf people and really diverse different styles of communication. It was the most, it was a learning experience. I was really, really being challenged in every single way. Anyway, to cut a long story short, Grey Eye. I finally arrived here at Grey Eye, working with, as I've said before, people that nobody else wants to work with. So it just fires you the absolute injustice of who says who had the right to be on stage. Yes, of course we expect quality, good acting, believable acting, all of those things. But there are people out there that say, people like you will upset our audiences. Oh, with one arm, no, sorry, we couldn't have you on our stage. No, we'd rather work with your interpreter than you as a deaf actor. It's astounding the things that people feel that they can say very directly to deaf and disabled performers. So that actually, if I think about it, is the biggest barrier that we have to smash. It's always been the attitude. And I don't understand it. If you think about it, Shakespeare did not say whether Juliet was deaf, blind, wheelchair user or not. He didn't. So why can't I cast in my Shakespeare's deaf and disabled people? But some people out there say, can't, you cannot. The tradition of theatre is as it's written. It is unbelievable. But that's why I really, really love my job, because I can raise my two fingers at the mass and say, excuse me, this is the theatre that I'm going to make. These are the people that I want to work with. And theatre is a human right. And our job is to put ourselves on that stage. And I do believe that deaf and disabled people are not vulnerable on stage. We've chosen to be looked at. And we're aware that an audience will strip them back till they're almost naked because of fascination around physical difference. But then if our plays are good, people put our clothes back on and see us as a character in a play. We have to be seen as more than just our physical impairment. We are complex people. We are lovers, mothers, brothers, sons, daughters. We're all those things. We do not want to just be shoved into a little box. Behind me, in this lovely, lovely Grey Eye studio, is part of the setup for a show called Reason to be Cheerful. And if I think about it, when I was growing up, there were no role models, but we had Ian Dury. And Ian Dury, as a disabled punk rocker, he didn't try and hide who he was. He was just buff, out there, telling everybody, this is who it is, this is who I am, this is how it is. Perfect. And when he did Spasticus or Autisticus, which was banned by the BBC, that was like triumph in a way, because we were being censored. So again, another glorious barrier comes our way, but we barricade, we break it open. So when I got the job as the co-artistic director of the Paralympics, one of the things I had back of my head, we had to have Spasticus Autisticus in the show. Because Reasons to be Cheerful, the show with all the Ian Dury songs on, have been on national tour. And you just realise that Audiences are like hungry for different, hungry for something that's challenging, political and naughty. And in my head, that's exactly how we had to have that element, that foundation in the Paralympics. The Paralympics was, it was a roller coaster of challenges, of emotions, of blood, sweat, tears, arguments, most incredible artistic discussions. Then I got 44 deaf and disabled performers, training them in circus skills. I was so fascinated to see other people in and around the whole machine of the organisations, just watching, thinking, it's not possible. These people that I have chosen, who are lorry drivers, ex-soldiers, some artists, shopkeepers, but people with strength and determination, they're not going to be able to do it. Excuse me, of course they did it. Of course they did it. Because of that thing of wanting to prove other people wrong. They were better than better. Because they have to be. Because there's so much judgment out there about what people think we can do. And what we do so brilliantly is we work with what we have, rather than bemoan or decry what we don't have. We use the resources we have. And you can imagine the rehearsal room was naughty. People taking their prosthetic legs off and leaving them lying around. Then they'll be up on a trapeze, swinging and go, oh, where's my leg? Which one? No, can you pass my leg over there? Oh, no, it's not that one. Oh, my God, where's my leg? There was something, the humour was just surreal. So I created this family of 44 people. Then I created another family of 3,500 volunteers who were absolutely, totally and utterly on board with wanting to challenge the real meaning of equality, of inclusion and participation. For many of them, they'd never worked with deaf or disabled volunteers, so you saw everyone trying to work out how they're going to do it. But they did, so all these fantastic groups of people have become friends, they support each other, they've learnt, they've been on a journey. But for all of us, so much of that journey was about transforming our perceptions and really bulldozing attitude. You know, there's always that thing that one glove fits all. No, it doesn't. It doesn't, and it shouldn't. You have to learn to be flexible. You have to learn to ask. If you don't know, you ask. And I think that's part of my world is, working with such diversity of people. There has to be an exchange. I can't be expected to know everything, but neither can they. But when we have that exchange, we pool our resources, we know quadruple amounts of stuff. So the parents was one thing, and what I'm hoping for now is that maybe that was a warm-up. 2012 was a warm-up for 2013. We have got to carry on because, again, those attitudinal barriers have come back down because all the government seems to be doing is talk about deaf and disabled people being benefit scroungers. And so many of our rights of dignity is being taken away with these cuts. So I really feel more than ever it is so crucial that we remain on that centre stage in many different performance platforms as we possibly can, because otherwise we'll be swept beautifully under the carpet and forgotten. And we mustn't be forgotten because we are very much part of the fabric of humanity. So every time I think, oh, I now know what Grey Eye is about, I know what I can do, I realise I still know nothing. I'm still part of a massive journey to try and change the world.